Now the only problem is that there's going to be a delay because, yeah, that might not. I don't know if that's going to work too good. Because Discord is live, but the actual stream there's a delay. But I can show you anyways. Do you have the link to my stream?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna resume saved. And I'm just gonna build like a basic rocket. Command pod.
I'm in space. I'm spinning out of control right now.
Nice, dude. Yeah, that'll do it. Okay. So
Am I
start.
F in A?
What's that?
Am I F if I'm spinning out of control?
Yeah. So yeah, you start with a command pod, right? And put it. Always remember to put your parachute on. And then I don't know if you have any couplings yet, but in Sandbox you should have all this stuff. So you click on coupling, and then you gotta find the one that fits. This one's TD12 decoupler, okay? And that's just gonna separate your command module from the fuel tank. And then we're just gonna do, let's see. Is this too big? Oh, it's too big. Crap. Can't remember which one's this. These are like the small tanks here. So we could do, we'll do that one, and then we'll do this little engine, the Terrier. This is good for space. Once you're out in space, this is a good engine for space. And you could look at it. There is when you put your mouse over it, it tells you ASL means at sea level. That's how much thrust it has. And then VAC is vacuum, so in space. So in space it has more thrust, I think. Is that right? 14, okay. And then we're going to do another decoupler. And then we're going to add another fuel tank. Whoops. We'll do like 2 of these. And if you put your mouse over a part, like for example this tank, I can hold Alt and click, and it kind of copies that same part.
You're a bad man.
And then you can, let's see, you could probably do another one. And let's see. Try this engine, swivel. Okay, that should be enough to get us up into orbit, I think. Another thing you could do is go to aerodynamics, and you could put some fins on. That's probably too big. These are all pretty big. I thought I had these little ones here. Well, I'm just gonna stick with these small ones for now. They should be enough. And if you want to duplicate these, if you press X, it kind of multiplies them. So we could do like 4, like that, something like that. we'll see how that goes. And then on the right side here you have your stages. So first it's going to fire this engine on the bottom, then it's going to decouple, and then it's going to fire the second engine, and then decouple again, and then open the parachute. Every time you hit spacebar, you activate the stage. Also down here you have like a little report. Like design checklist. It says cannot transmit science because you don't have an antenna. We didn't attach an antenna. It also says unused monopropellant. That means that the module, if you right click on the module, it has this monopropellant fuel, but that fuel is used for those little retro rockets, like for example these guys, these little rockets. But we're not going to mess with those for now. So you could technically empty out that monopropellant. Will make your ship a little lighter, but it doesn't matter. Alright, that should be it then. Then you go to launch.
It's off like 15 seconds.
Yeah, I know. I know it's kind of hard to. You almost have to mute my my Discord and just listen to it in the game. Alright, so, oh, another thing I forgot to do, you can revert to vehicle assembly. There's like this stabilizer thing, you could use these things too. Yeah, just do it like this, I guess. And then that's gonna actually, it's in the same stage here at the beginning. So when the engine fires, it's gonna release these clamps. Okay, let's see. Right. Okay. So now, first thing you want to make sure is you press Z to go full throttle, and then you could either click this SAS here or press T. And then R is for RCS, but we don't have any RCS. RCS is that little retro rockets, but we didn't add any. So we just need to have SAS on for stability and full throttle. And then some people turn, like they launch and then they turn the rocket. So you could do it that way too. Basically what you want to do is when you launch and you have your nav ball down here, to the right is 90 degrees. So you want your rocket to go to the right slowly, gradually. Because you're going with Earth's or Kerbin's rotation that's going to help you get into orbit. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. So I'm just going to start turning left a little bit. My stability controls on. These are different angles, but I'll show you later. Prograde is for basically following the curve. So if you hit M to open the map, you can kind of see your path. You're down here right now, and this is kind of like your mapped out path. I don't know if this is gonna work. I might need more fuel. I should have started turning earlier. I'm like 7,000 meters. It should be about 70 degrees here on the nav ball. You can also throttle down a little bit too. You don't want to go too fast. 500 meters per second is good. Yeah, I might not have enough fuel to get up here, because I'm running out of fuel in this first stage. So let's see. Let's throttle down a little bit. I'm about 60% throttle right now, about 45 degree. And if you switch to map, it shows me that I'm gonna be at, yeah, 70 kilometers is pretty much, that's where you hit space. So like right now I ran out of fuel, so I'm gonna hit spacebar, decouple, and then want to hit spacebar again to fire the second rocket there. And see if we can slow down a little bit now, because now I'm at 76, so I can actually kill the engine now. And we're still going up. This meter up top here, this little dial, is showing us vertical speed. And you could see that altimeter is climbing, and we're almost in space. When we hit 70,000 meters or 70 kilometers, we're going to be in space. Okay. And so when we get up to here, this is like the apex. Apoapsy. You want to fire. I'm going to do it earlier though. Before I even get there, I'm going to fire my engine full throttle and point it like right at the horizon, which is between the blue and brown. And what that's doing is it's expanding this this path, this trajectory. Let me turn off these things. So this is what you want to do. You want to circularize. And you always want to be in front of this. If you start getting past the AP, you gotta point towards the sky a little bit, which is the blue area. And then you can start slowing down. See how it's... So I'm throttling down. And then... I'm going to wait till I get up here. And you could do time warp too if you use the less than and greater signs. You can speed up time. On the top left you could see that I'm increasing time here using the carrots. So again, I'm going to try to get closer to the AP here, apoapsy, which is like the apex. Because once you pass the apex, you start falling down. See, watch. Look at this meter here. This dial is going to get to 0. And when it gets to 0, that's when you're at the top. Let me speed up a little bit so I can show you faster. See here? Right now it's at 0. And we're at 78, 702, 701. See, now we're falling. So right now, if we don't do anything, we're going to end up going all the way around and fall into, well, no, we're good. We're going to be at 46 kilometers, which isn't high enough, right? Because we want these things to match. We want the AP and the PE to be close. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to point towards the horizon again, 90 degrees. And then fire the engine, not full throttle, just a little bit. See how the periaps is climbing? Boom, and I'm going to stop here. A little more. So now AP is 80K and this is 75K. So technically we are in orbit right now, right? And let me speed up a little bit so we can go around the other side. I don't bring any lights with me, so it's dark here. Although I do have a light inside the cabin, I think. Maybe. Hold on. And then if you press C, you can actually look inside the command module, the capsule. And you can control it too from here. Like here's the throttle. It's crazy. Yeah, just turn the light on. Up here you can turn the lights, which also I think I forgot what the shortcut key is, but so let me check, make sure I don't screw up my. Okay. So now I'm gonna just do a little time warp to get on the other side of the planet where there's the sun, because it's super dark over here.
Nemo, are you gonna be on tomorrow?
Yeah, after school.
All right. I'm going to bed, so I'll talk to you.
Like,
Night.
Okay, so while we're up here in space, I can show you also the different different controls. So like Q and E basically make you spin, and if I turn off SAS, whichever way I turn, it'll just keep spinning that way. You know what I mean? Because there's nothing stopping it right now. So the only way I could stop this is either counteract it or just turn on SAS stability. And then prograde is basically you're pointing towards your trajectory. So if I look at the map, and here's our this blue-green line is our trajectory. So we're heading this way towards the AP once again. And then, so that's prograde. So right now, if I fire my engine prograde, it's basically expanding. It's like I'm going higher and higher. AP's going higher and higher. So that's prograde. Now go back, and if I do retrograde, that flips me around backwards. This is how you slow down so you can go back to the planet. The other one is normal, which basically you're kind of pointing up. Yep, you're pointing up, like if you're looking around. And then anti-normal, you're pointing down. And then you have radio in. Radio in, you're pointing towards the planet or whatever you're orbiting. And then radio out is pointing away from it. Alright, so what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and land. So we're going to go retrograde, point retrograde, fire our rocket, engine, go back to our map, and look at our PE, periapsis. We were watching it, we wanted to get down to around 40K. So there's 70, and you can go faster if you want, more throttle. I'm trying to kind of do it slowly here. 45, 44. So boom, somewhere around there, 38, 40, whatever. It doesn't have to be exact. But you know what? I don't like that because we're going to land on the dark side, so it's going you're not going to see anything good. So let's go ahead and back to prograde and get ourselves back up. And we're going to come around a little bit. So you can also click, like say I want to warp right here. So you click on that blue line, and it's gonna take your spaceship there. So when we get here, we're gonna go ahead and burn retrograde. Click on retrograde. You can also tell on the markers on the nav ball too, like if you're just using the controls, you know, the WSAD. This one's which one is that's anti-normal. Then you have prograde, normal, retrograde. And then you have radio in and radio out. Yep, radio out, you're pointing away. The blue is like the sky, so like right now if I'm in the middle of the sky, I'm pointing straight up. If I'm in the middle of the brown, I'm pointing straight down towards the earth. If I'm like here 90 degrees, I'm going prograde. Alright, so here we go, retrograde. We'll go back to our map. You can right click on this so it doesn't go away, because if you just put your mouse over it, it will go away. So I always like right click on it. Don't really have to worry about this too much, but so here we go. Gonna burn retrograde, and we're going to get down to about 40K. There we go. That's good. Alright, so now we're good. So what's going to happen now is we're going to start descending. So as you can see, our altitude is dropping right now. We're in the negative on the dial. So we're falling down towards the planet. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit because it's going to take a while. So we're going to zoom around the planet here. So right now we just entered upper atmosphere because we're below 70K. And we're still... So at this point what you want to do is I normally turn radio out like this, and then our next stage we're going to separate because we're not going to use fuel anymore. So we're gonna drop this fuel and engine. It's gonna fall down and burn up in the atmosphere, basically. And now we're gonna point ourselves again retrograde, because there's supposed to be a heat shield here. I didn't put one on, but you're supposed to put a heat shield. The capsule itself has some protection, but it's always a good idea to actually have a heat shield on there. Okay, so now basically I'm going to speed up a little bit. We're going to start entering the atmosphere is basically going to start getting thicker. There's going to be more air, and it's going to get to a point where it's going to start heating up. Actually, I need to turn off this light because I want to waste my battery. Because your spacecraft does have electric charge. Once it runs out of electricity, then you can't control it. So technically, at this point, we could turn off stability assist, because the capsule is designed to kind of stay stable like this, and you can spin it. Sometimes I do that to cool it off a little bit. This is one of the add-ons I have, Flight Engineer. It gives me some information about temperatures and things. Right now the parachute is red, so you don't want to deploy it because it's gonna just break. Because we're still going really fast. We're going at 2,000 meters per second. So we're coming in hot. But we are slowing down, which is good. That means our temperature should start dropping too. Critical temperature for the capsule is 2200 Kelvin. So we're dropping altitudes about 27 kilometers. Now we're getting slower and slower, so now it's less friction on here, and now we're 1,000 meters per second. Take a look at a parachute, it's still red. Usually you want to pop the parachute like around less than 300 meters per second. So you gotta wait till you're slowed down enough. You gotta keep an eye on your altitude. 16 kilometers are still good, pretty high up here. If you click on this, and there's like a little interior overlay, you could see what the little Kerbal looks like inside. He's happy, he's good. And then even inside, you can look out the window. Right now I can't really see that much. Kind of dark. So yeah, right now the parachute, we could technically deploy it now. So we're gonna go ahead, deploy the chute, hitting the space bar. Our speed is 180 meters per second. When it gets down to the chute, you can kind of see where at 1,000 meters, 1 kilometer, it's going to fully open. Right now it's just kind of like a drag chute right now. There, it's opening, and then generally safe drop this speed is about 5-6 meters per second. Anything over 6 or 7 meters per second, you tend to blow stuff up. So that's it. Now we're just going to free fall down into the water. I want to speed this up a little bit. 300 meters. There's our shadow. We're almost there. There we go. Boom, splash down. And then you can go EVA down here. If you click on that little dude, you'll jump out. And space, let go. You can swim around in the water. He also has a parachute too, which is pretty cool. Because if you had to, like, for some reason eject or whatever, or if you're falling down and you go to EVA, sometimes the wind is so strong it will just rip you. You're like, you lose grip and you fall off the capsule, and then you have to deploy your parachute. Okay, let's go back in. Be boarded, and then up here you just go recover vessel. Once you put your mouse on the top, and I'll take you back to the space station. And then at the end of each mission, there's usually like a report telling you like if you got science or anything. But since we're doing sandbox mode, it doesn't really matter. So yeah, there's really nothing there. Well, yeah, dude, that's pretty much it. Like I said, it's a lot of practice. Like, for example, I'm in the process of launching these comm satellites into orbit around the planet or also around the moon. So like, I would basically, I built this, and then I'll just go ahead and launch it. Oh, it's a night launch. I should really get those clamps on here, but because one of these days this thing's just gonna fall over. I have lights on it too. You can get lights and stuff. Let me put these solar panel arrays away, because you don't want to be launching with those extended. They're just going to rip off. So we'll put those away, retract those, and then turn on our stability assist, full throttle, and launch. And I generally throttle down a little bit. It depends on the engine and how much fuel you have and stuff. This one's obviously a lot bigger fuel tanks and bigger engine, so this one gets up there a lot faster. Let's see if we can get this thing. I could try to go to the moon with this one too. Could put another one around the moon. Maybe, we'll see.
To the moon.
To the moon. We'll try it. We'll see if we can make it. Okay, so let's see. 17K. I should be turning on.
I just have you muted in Discord and just listen to you play.
Yeah, that's probably the best. Okay. So, to get to the moon, you zoom out. There's the moon. You gotta set as target. These ascending and descending nodes, you basically want them to be at 0. That means your trajectory, which is this blue thing, this green, is going to be the same. And the nice thing about it is the moon's orbit is exactly at 90 degrees. So we don't have to change our trajectory angle. So let me point this thing back at the horizon. Over here, I'm keep an eye on my fuel here. More power. More power, dude. Gonna run out of fuel in this stage soon. Crap. Wasn't very efficient about this launch, but that's okay. I got the music turned way down.
How much fuel should you have left after every launch into space?
Well, basically, hold on, is this gonna be too loud? Hold on a second. That's not too loud, is it? Okay, so we're at we gotta be careful now because we are falling down, so I need to point up a little bit. This might not work. It's getting close. Almost out of fuel here. Okay. So right now we ran out of fuel in the first stage. So we're just going to drop that stage down. Separate there. There it goes. Bye-bye stage. It's going to end up falling back to Earth or Kerbin because it's on that trajectory. Meanwhile, we should be... There he goes. There's the PE. This is good. This is rising. And get closer to the apoapsy here. So basically, whenever you're at like close to the apex here, apoapsy, right? That's when you want to fire right in the middle between the sky and the earth at 90 degrees. See the 90 here? Because that's what it's doing there. It's raising your... Whoa. Yep, that just flipped around, which is fine. Okay. We're good. We're in orbit right now, so we don't have to worry about falling back down. Now, in order to get there, you're not just going to fly, you know, towards it, because alright, if you look at nav ball, that pink thing there, I don't know if you can see it, but that's the target. So what you want to do at this point, you want to point yourself once again at the horizon, just between the blue and the brown here, 90 degrees. So that's prograde. We're basically prograde. And then you want to keep an eye on the horizon here. And as soon as you see the moon pop up, that's when you burn. Burn towards the moon. Towards the horizon, that is. So let's see, how close are we? So we should see the moon pop up a little bit. We still got a little bit to go. So I'm going to speed it up a little bit. This music is a little bit too loud. Hold on a second. Actually, I could just turn the music down a little bit. Still feels kind of loud. Doesn't seem to be working. Alright, so now let me go back in here. Okay, there's the sun. The moon should be coming up soon after that. I'm gonna speed up a little bit. Oh, another thing I forgot to do too is I forgot to deploy this fairing. Should have done that before. Yeah, I'll do it right now. So we'll go ahead and deploy this. And there's electric charge up here that's dropping because we're using stability assist and other stuff. So what we want to do is we want to deploy these solar arrays. Extend solar panels, right? That's going to charge our batteries back up inside the probe here. That's the probe basically. So I have an antenna, a probe. That was part of the fairing that we just dropped off. There's RCS tank, which is for the little rockets, and then the regular fuel tank, and then the engine. I got some lights on here too. Okay, so now, oh, there's the moon. I see it pop up. So, I'm gonna burn towards the moon. Let's see what's gonna happen now. This thing's gonna extend out. Kind of did it a little bit too late, but that's okay. Because by the time we get here, the moon's gonna get closer. Because the moon's traveling this way, we're gonna be going this way, so we kind of gonna meet in the middle, kind of, so to speak. So as it's expanding, we're gonna slow down, throttle. it here. Get up a little bit more. There we go. Okay. I shut the engine off because now what's happening is there's trajectory now here, and then that brown ball right there, that's where the moon's gonna be by the time we get there. It's gonna travel all the way over here. So now what we can do is we can click on here and do focus view to take a closer look. And this is going to be our trajectory here. So now I can fine-tune this a little bit before we even get there. I can turn the RCS on and then like adjust it. Yeah, we're kind of sideways too. I have to fix that later. Yeah, we can fix the angle later. That's fine. We'll just go there. The other thing you could do too is you could do these maneuver points where you can click on that, add a maneuver, and so like if we didn't do anything, we would basically just fly right by the moon and boom, there would be an escape trajectory, and then eventually we probably end up in this orbit somehow. So what we're going to do is we're going to go retro. Let me slow down. Oops. And when we slow down, it's going to put us in an orbit around the moon like this. For now, I'm just going to leave it like that, because we'll have to fine-tune it later. And this is how much delta V we're going to have to use. 195 meters per second. It tells you you're going to have to probably burn for about 6 seconds to slow us down to this orbit. And right now, we're going to arrive there in 1 day, 2 hours and 45 minutes. So what we're going to do, we'll switch back to this view and speed up the time, right? So here we go. Floating away from the planet Kerbin and going towards the moon. The moon's way over there, but we'll get there eventually. Getting closer. I don't see it. Oh shit. Why is the oh, that's right, RCS. What happened? Oh, we're still there, okay. We're almost entering this it's called sphere of influence. That means the gravitational pull of the moon is gonna drag us in here, pull us in. It's hard to see the moon because the freaking sun's right there. But hold on, we'll get a little bit closer. I just gotta keep an eye on the time warp. I don't want to go too fast, so we'll just zoom past it. Okay. Stupid RCS. I gotta turn that RCS off. Okay, so we're still 12 minutes away. So I'm gonna get a little bit closer to our node. And we're almost there. Now, just for the hell of it, we're gonna bring this down I'm gonna get real close to the moon so I can show you. Oh man, hold on a second. I think I'm going the wrong way. Yeah, I fucked up. Shit. Damn, I just wasted a shit ton of fuel. This might not work too good. Damn it. Okay, ran out of fuel in that tank. This tank is empty now. Son of a bitch. The only thing I have left now is RCS. Which probably not, I don't know if it's going to be enough to bring us down. I do have a lot of fuel. I do have a lot of RCS fuel, so this might work. It's just going to take a while because these rockets are weak. They're mainly for like fine-tuning orbit. God damn it. Fucking went the wrong way. Fired the rocket in the wrong direction. Bitch. Yeah, because if I don't slow down now, I'm gonna basically escape. Man. Alright. This needs to get down to 0 basically. Can't believe I did that. Wait a second. I'll turn this sound down, it's really annoying. Okay. So yeah, see what happened was, we were coming in this way, and instead of slowing down and burning retrograde, I burned prograde, so I basically sped up. That's why the ship is right here. The satellite's right here instead of being on this trajectory. But it will be okay. I could see this moving now. So as long as I keep burning retro, I'm gonna get rid of this. I'm just gonna keep burning retro, and eventually this green line's gonna come around and create an orbit around the moon. I'm still good. I still have 600 units of monopropellant. So I used up maybe, what, 70, 80, 85%? Oh, I have 85% left. Getting there, getting there. This is just a very, very bad way of trying to get into orbit. These satellite ships, the rockets, whatever I built, they're not really designed to be flying that far. They just have enough fuel to get to the moon, basically. And I wasted a lot going the wrong way. But it's all good. We're getting an orbit around the moon. Even now, if I stop, it would just be like a really weird elliptical orbit here. I see I already have two satellites here. One in a polar orbit and one in equatorial orbit. So this one I kind of wanted to put like at a 45 degree, because what these things do, they provide communications to back to the planet. That way if I have a probe or something on this side of the moon, I'll be able to control it. Because the first time I flew out here, I didn't have any comms, and when I lost line of sight with the planet, I lost control of the probe. So I had to wait until it came around the other side, and then I was finally able to control it. So that's what these things are here. You got full control, your signal strength, all this good stuff. Alright, hold on a second. I need to get up here.
A probe to satellite,
What's that?
right?
Satellites, yeah, these probes are satellites, yeah. Well, basically probe is just it's like the probe body is what you use if you don't want to send Kerbals, just in case you're gonna lose them or something, because probe, it's no big deal if you lose a probe. But if you send a command module up with a Kerbal and you lose the Kerbal, then it's like, oh shit, sucks, because you kind of want to go save them. So, and probes are great for satellites. All you do is this is, what's the name of this probe? Probodyne HECS2. So this is like probably the best probe in the game when you first start out. If you're doing career mode, you only have like this round called Staputnik probe, which doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles. This thing has batteries on board, it has all kinds of stuff. All this stability assist and everything. And then I just attached a big ass relay antenna on it. RA100, so it's got really long distance and all that shit. So yeah, I started with a probe, attached antenna to it. I attached this fairing, which I really probably didn't have to do, but it looks nice. Kind of covers it when you're launching, and then when you get up to space, you can deploy the fairing and exposes the antenna. And then this is the RCS fuel. That's basically what I'm burning right now, trying to slow myself down. And that's these tanks, and I could burn different directions, up and down, all kinds of directions and stuff. Because this fuel tank's empty. I got nothing in here. That was basically what this engine was. This engine was using this fuel, and now luckily I have this. If I didn't have this RCS, we would have lost this probe. This probe would have went out, and then I think eventually like started orbiting Kerbin, like really super high orbit. Like I remember seeing it like being way out here. Okay, so let's see. I still want to drop this down. I'm going to drop this real low so you can get a real close look at the moon. It's pretty cool. Because right now we're not that close. I mean, you can see it pretty good from here. Looks pretty sweet. But we can get closer. So I'm going to continue dropping the periapsy. Because I still have a lot of... I'll probably get down to like, let's try 80 kilometers. And here we go. Turn this RCS off. Don't really need that either. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. There's Kerbin. So yeah, we got real close to the moon. Hold on a second. Retro. I'm gonna slow down.
Does the position of your satellite matter?
Yeah, yes and no. It depends what you're trying to do. Like, if you want to have really good coverage, you want to have a satellite going around the equator and then also the polar one. Because what happens is when a satellite gets on the other side of the moon, you're going to lose the signal. But if you have one up here, and sometimes what people do is they synchronize them so that they're like they have full coverage 100% of the time, basically. So if I do this, if I change this to
I'm pointed at the Kerbal Earth.
oh, I don't think so. I mean, because if I go to this satellite, let's see how this one's pointing. Yeah, that one's pointing like way over there right now. Where the hell's the moon? Oh, there's the moon. I don't think it matters which way they're pointing, but again, I'm not 100% sure. You can switch between targets, like I just switched to the polar satellite. I can switch to this one too. That one's pointing that way. Because when I first started playing, I used to make like satellites with like freaking antennas all over it, like all around it and stuff, or at least like, you know, front, back, and sides or something, you know what I mean? But I mean, they all have good links. These green lines means it's a good link. Let me switch. Where's the other one? This one. So if I burn, oh man, this is kind of messed up. I want to be over here probably. Something like that. I'll have to tweak it a little bit because it's kind of messed up right now. Let's see, is this going to be? It might work. I can fine tune it later. For now, we're just going to try to get to this dotted line. And again, you just click on maneuver. And I'll speed this up a little bit. Only problem is, let me turn these lines off, they're annoying. And then the other thing you could do too is like you can, up top you can turn off different craft. So it's like less cluttered. Yeah, so I turned off the satellite right now so I can't see him anymore. So I can focus on just one thing for now. See, this guy's going to come around here. Good thing there's a warp thing. Otherwise, you'd be sitting here forever waiting for these. Alright, so let's see if this works. 1 minute. Again, this is one of those not very efficient way of doing it because you want to have a more powerful engine for this kind of, especially when you're trying to turn your orbit at a 45-degree angle, whatever. You can see how slowly it's moving. This green line is moving, it's trying to get to this orange dotted line, whatever. So yeah, I'm getting about 50% on fuel there. Well, a little more, I guess. More than 15, but so yes, that's what a lot of people do. They start out like first just trying to get in orbit around the planet Kerbin. Once they get comfortable with that, you know, put some satellites up around Kerbin, you know, mess around with orbiting, and then you know, try to go to the moon. I actually did land I did land on the moon over here. This is, yeah. But I got stranded, kind of. This is where the Kerbals got stranded. Because I landed, but then I didn't have enough fuel to take off. Let's see, that's... And then I try to send this thing out there to save, to basically to pick up the debris. But that didn't work out, so... My spaceship actually, or my, you know, spaceship fell apart. This thing's got a really big battery on top, and it's still, it's still running. These lights are still on, and there's no way for me to turn them off because this thing just broke off this spaceship. This capsule actually had 3 Kerbals inside that were stranded out here. I had to go bring him back. Yeah, there's the other part. Like I had to go and rescue them. Yeah, that's the part that's got the light on it. And then there's the debris debris grabber probe. That's what I called it. Fucking piece of shit. I couldn't get it to, because I was trying to land it on top of this capsule, and the thing has like a hook on it. I don't know if you can see because it's dark right now, but yeah, there it is. There's like a claw. There's a claw on here that when it touches something, it just kind of grabs it. So I was gonna like, I did have engines on this, but they broke off because I crashed this thing. So I was gonna grab it and then basically fly off and crash it or something, or I don't know. I was just trying to clean up the moon. I don't want to leave trash on the moon, you know. So, anyways, let me go back to... Shit, where was I? Oh, that's right. I turned everything off so I can't see my probes. Oh yeah, this probe. Wait, what? Oh man, he killed me. The other vessels moving on the surface. Is that the one? Yeah. Trying to get this thing to this orbit, but it's not working. try this again over here. So yeah, basically I'm pointing normal. So right now I'm pointing up. So I'm kind of flying up. And that's what's causing my orbit to shift to like a 45-degree angle kind of. It's just taking a long time because, like I said, these little retro rockets or whatever, they're not designed to be doing all this work basically. So, but I mean, it's fine for now. Alright, well, let's see. I think I'm gonna go to bed soon, dude. But just kind of want to show you some stuff on here. Let's see now.
No, it's no problem. I'll go to bed too.
But yeah, see how close now we're to the moon?
Yeah, I seen everything that you showed me. It's kind of awesome. I like it.
It is cool, man. I mean, like I said, there's a lot. I'm gonna stop the stream here on a second.